A violent storm swept through Palermo, Sicily, late Monday night, unleashed torrential rainfall, winds and powerful lightning strikes that brought the historic city to near its standstill. Within just 2 hours, rainfall levels exceeded those typical seen in entire month, tuning roads into raging rivers and trapped dozens of motorists in submerged tunnels. Emergency service declared a state of alert. Firefighters carried out more than 500 rescue operations across the metropolitan area. Cars were swept away in Viva Leonardo da Vinci. Off to the city busiest roads, the residents scrambled the high ground as water poured the basements of a ground floor apartment. It was terrified, said local resident Maria Conti. The thunder shook in windows in a minute and the streets outside became a river. We could even open the door against the water pre-show. Authority temporarily closed Palermo Falcone Belsicato Airport at a crossroad exceeded 19 km/h, made the land still unsafe.
Grandina tutto, nebbia d'acqua, non si capisce niente.
Ferry service on Naples and Cagliari were suspended due to rough sea. The Sicily team network was shut down after electrical damage and overheat lines. Meteorologists said the storm was followed by the powerful Mediterranean low-pressure system, parts of the growing pattern of Mediterranean, like a storm that resembled tropical cyclones. Temperatures dropped sharply following the storm and held the size of walnuts, damaged vehicles and citrus orange in the surrounding countryside. Regional Governor Renato called the event wake all of the Sicily, emphasizing the urgent need to improve drainage and fluid difference. We can no longer train trees to rare incidents. We said they are becoming by new normal. Video circulated online showing people wading through the waist-deep water in Palermo Historic Center, while rescue used inflatable boats to reach stranded residents near the pizza. Electricity outage and thousands without electricity overnight. The schools were ordered closed and crew cleared debris and restored infrastructure. Climate experts warn that Sicily is one of the dense urban layout and against infrastructure is increasingly exposed to extreme weather linked to global warming. Palermo, the vibrant capital of the city, awaked the scene of devastation after one of the most violent storms in the recent memory battered the city overnight. Within a few short hours, torrential downpour and hurricane-force winds transformed the sun-drenched Mediterranean hub into the landscape of chaos and destruction. According to Italy's Civil Protection Department, the storm unleashed more than 115 millimeters of rain, equivalent of 2 months of precipitation, in less than 3 hours. The city as the drainage system dating back in the 19th century was quickly overwhelmed. Cars flooded through the flooded streets, traffic lights flickered out the entire neighborhood, including Partana, Oreta and Mandela, were cut off by rising water. Local authorities described the event as one in the century deluge. Major Roberto Lagale urged residents to remain indoors and declared to municipality energy. "This is not a simple storm," he told reporters. "It is a climate disaster that has hit Palermo. It is unprecedented force." Videos circulated online captured the shocking moment when the lightning illuminated the city skyline. Reveling flooded pieces uprooted trees and torrent cascading down the marble column of Palermo Cathedral. cathedral. Firefighters walking through the night rescued families trapped in their homes and cleared fallen debris from the Via Roma and the Pisa Palermo. At least 13 people were theatered and minor injured, while several vehicles were reported missing after being swept away by the flash flood. Local hospitals operated on emergency generators as a power outage ripped through the city's core. Residents come pouring the chaos, and the scene from disaster film The Noise was different, said Andrea Messina, a shop owner near Teto Messina. It felt like a sky opened about us, hail, winds, thunder, and once again, meteorologists attribute the storm and a cut-off low. A cold air remains trapped in the central Mediterranean that collided with the humid air from the Africa, and the received and explosive weather. The event highlighted the turbulent trend. Italy has forced a 40% increase in the extreme rainfall over the past decade. In the aftermath, clean-up crew worked to remove debris and restore essential service, while local volunteers distributed food and blankets of those displaced. Schools and public officials reminded closer authority as damaged the city's aging infrastructure. Rome, a city more accustomed to the golden sunset, that the ice storm was hit by an unusual hailstorm that covered its streets and the thick layer of ice. The sudden downpour, which lasted then an hour, brought daily life to the southern Celt, forced residents and tourists to try understand the extent of the damage. Meteorologists' incidents confirmed the hailstorm was caused by the collisions of warm Mediterranean air masses with a sharp cold front from the northern Europe. Strong updrafts formed hailstones the size of a golf ball, which damaged roofs, smashed shop windows, and left cars covered in damp. It caused chaos and transformation. Several metro stations were forced to close due to flooding and major roads turned into rivers and melted slush. Emergency service reported rescued dozens of people trapped in their cars, while firefighters rushed to clear a fallen bridge and restore blocked drainage system. In 30 years of service, I have never seen a room suffer so much from ice, said a fire brigade representative. Hospitals across the capital treated dozens of people who were injured after slipper of ice sidewalks. Tourists visited landmarks such as Pizza Venezia and Spanish Steps, described surreal scene. We thought it was snowing, but the hail became so heavy that it hurt, recalled Anna, a tourist from Germany. Farmers in Lazio Rome was left stranded after extraordinary hailstorm turned in the ancient city into the local described the sudden winter in September. Streets across the capital, including Ure near the Colosseum and Pisa Venezia, were blanketed a thick layer of ice, disrupting traffic and caused widespread astonishment. The violent storm struck with a little warning, planted the city with a hailstorm the size of a walnut. Within minutes, the rain were overwhelmed, leading the flash flood in low-lying districts. Motorists were forced to abandon cars and ice storms swept through the several avenues, while public buses struggled to navigate blocked roads. Emergency service reported dozens of calls to assistance. Firefighters were deployed to clear fallen branches and rescue drivers trapped flooded in underpasses. No fatalities were confirmed, but several minor injuries occurred as people slipped on the ice-coated concreted pavement. One resident told local media, "I lived in Rome 40 years. I never seen hell like this. I felt that the city had been dropped into another season." Meteorologists explained it that the year was triggered by a clash of warm Mediterranean air with a powerful cold front from the northern Europe, creating ideal conditions for the hail formations. The Italian city of Palermo was left in shock after the severe storm swept through the Sicilian capital, bringing torrential rain, hurricane-force winds and flash floods that paralyzed the city. Within hours, streets turned into raging rivers, swept away across the trapped residents in their homes. Emergency services were inundated with the cold, rescued dozens of people from flooded cars in the basement. It was like a waterfall rushing throughout the streets, said a local shopkeeper. Describe it now if the store was destroyed in minutes. Hospitals reported an influx of patients suffering from the injured and hypothermia. Authorities confirmed several casualties and thousands of people were left without power as the power lines collapsed under the weight of fallen trees. The city's historic districts, usually bustling with the tourists, were usually empty as residents hid in their homes. The storm also disrupted vital infrastructure. Palermo airport temporarily suspended flights and ferry services were halted due to wave crashed onto the coast. In the rural area around the city, farmland was destroyed onto olive groves and vineyards were flooded, raising fears of significant losses to agriculture. Meteorologists said the storm was intensified by the warm water of the Mediterranean Sea, which follow unstable air masses. Conditions like to the border effects of the climate change. Italy's civil protection agency warned that extreme weather conditions are becoming the new normal, and they call it to mandate investment to flood protection and the early warning system. Local authorities declared a state of emergency, and the government promising to allocate funds to deal with the aftermath of the national disaster. Volunteers joined to brigade the police to clear blocked roads, but recovery expected to take weeks to even months. Sicily has always faced extreme weather conditions, say climatologist Lucia De Santis, but the scale of intensity of this phenomenon is unprecedented. The sea surface temperature is at 3 Celsius above average, and they contributed to strongest storm. The Italian Red Cross has launched a campaign to collect food, clothing and foods. Donations are accepted online in location collection center. Despite the destruction have also been stories by heroism. In Palermo, a police officer warning through the flood waters a rescue an elderly couple trapped in the flooded car. "We couldn't leave them there. The water was rising fast," he said. As cleanup beginning to Sicily starts to recover, officials warned the crisis far from over. Weather warning reminding the police and another storm front could in southern Italy by the weekend. A powerful storm hit Sicily, plunging part of the Italian island into chaos as torrential rain, strong winds and flash floods swept through the gray skies, including Palermo, Catania and Messina. According to Italy's Civil Protection Department, the storm dumped more than 120 mm of rain in just a few hours, nearly a month's worth, flooding streets, collapsing roads and prompted dozens of evacuations. Emergency service responded more than 300 calls using helicopters to board the rescue trapped residents. In Palermo, dramatic footage showed cars flooding like toys and shops in the historic center of flooding. Giulia Romana, a 42-year-old local resident, said, "It was terrible. The water rushed into our house in a matter of minutes. The barrier had time to move the upper floor. Schools were closing in affected regions, and hundreds of people were left without power due to power outage. Authority also reported temporarily closed to Catania airport. Theory runway were flooded, caused delays and cancellations. Meteorologists explained the extreme weather conditions as significant to rare Mediterranean hurricane formed by high sea temperature and unstable air masses.
Andiamo dentro!
Storm winds with the cyclone rotation around the lowland between Basilicata and Campania when it gets up to 100 km/h in the lower Tyrrhenian Sea. Sicilian, Ionian and Adriatic stratus as the result of strong winds surge along the open coast. The situation is less critical in the West Mons basins and the upper Tyrrhenian Sea. Bad weather is raging in Lazio, but not only there. Strong storms surge throughout Italy and snow at the well low altitude. The sea is stormy all the coast of Ponza is the ferry connecting of the island Formia and the marquee of the waves. The ship brought to the Formia left on the hour late today. By evening it was still and the road can left Ponza at 3:13 p.m. It is expected to arrive Formia around 8:45 p.m. Rome, Italy was hit by unprecedented hailstorm, surprised and catching locals by tourists of Guad. The storm brought heavy rain, lightning and hailstorm the size of a golf ball, caused damage of cars, homes and businesses. Witnesses reported hearing long bands of the hailstorm stuck roofs and windows. Many took to social media share photos and video of severe storm, with some experienced disbelief as such weather could occur in a normally sunny sea. The Italian capital was through the intel turmoil after sudden and violent hailstorm hit the Rome, covering the streets with the ice, damaged vehicles and living residents stranded. The storm, which arrived without warning, was declared a meteorologist is one of the most intense hail the city has in the decades. Within minutes, the sky darkened over the central Rome before unleashing the barrage of hailstorms, some the size of a golf ball. The streets around the Colosseum, Pisa, Venezia and Corso was transformed into rivers of ice. Video shared on social media showed scooters and cars are skidding out of control while passengers rolled their shelters in subway station. It sounded like the gunshot of roofs, said residents. Chiara Lombardi was a car white plate was shattered. In 15 minutes everything was destroyed. Emergency service responded. The hundreds of calls or rescue drivers trapped in the flooded overpasses and removing fallen branches. At least 25 people were injured, mainly is broken glass and debris. This collision swapped the powerful rotation thunderstorm, known the supercell, generated giant hailstorm the hurricane force gust. Dozens of flights were delayed at Milan Malpensa Airport and Florenza Peritola Airport, while the rail service forced major disruption. Devastating damage occurred in the rural area, vineyard in Prosecco and Chianti region suffered extensive damage, where the initial estimated protection agriculture losses exceeded 18 million euros. Farmers described the storms as brutal and unprecedented. Giulia Relandi, an vineyard owner in Lombardy, stated, "I've never seen hail with a big. In 10 minutes, my entire harvest was lost." Video shared on social media showed vehicles buried in a hail, roads reassembling split sky shoal and a shop plow crews collecting ice with the build zones. Environmental experts warn that the climate change while rising Mediterranean sea temperatures are making such violent storms more frequent. This is no longer a rare phenomenon, noted the Dr. Metopolfi, a climate scientist at the University of Florence. Warmer air holds more energy and emits too, creating ideal conditions for the formation of destructive hailstorm. As the recovery efforts continue across Italy, these storms serve as dark reminder of Europe rapidly changing weather patterns and how our sun-drenched region and the face relentless power of unstoppable climate.
Oddio, non ci credo. Oddio. Qua. La moto.
A violent hailstorm has battered parts of Sicily, transformed sun-shocked towns into city landscape and caused widespread disruption across the island. The powerful storm struck suddenly on a Tuesday afternoon, hitting Palermo, Catania and several inland communities with torrents of rain and a hailstorm as large as a walnut. Within a minute, roads turned white, cars were dented with the flash floods swept through the narrow streets. It looked like a storm in August, said Maria Russa, a shop owner in Calatafimi. The hail came down so fast and hard it broke out window and filtered the shop floor with water. Emergency crews were distributed across Sicily as a local authority received hundreds of distress calls. Firefighters worked late into the night to rescue drivers trapped in the submerged vehicles and clearing hail-pocket roads. In Palermo, parts of the Sicily Historic Center were blanketed in ice to 15 centimeters deep, forcing police to close several main roads and tunnels. Meteorologists say the storm was triggered by intense grayish air masses, warm humid rise from the Mediterranean, colding with a cold front descended from the northern Europe. The storms can suddenly catch residents and travelers off guard, with the windmill streets were transformed into rivers. At least 2 people were injured by falling debris and dozens were rescued from the flooding cars, and the Valle de Porco responded more than 500 emergency calls. "I've never seen anything like it," said Luca Perry, a taxi driver whose car was caught in the flood waters near Tiber River. "I felt like the sky was falling." The storm hit central areas hardest, including Trasteville, Tuscany, and San Giovanni, where entire intersection were flooded by flash floods, lighting a little up the sky over the Colosseum and St. Peter Basilica, creating unforgettable images that quickly spread on social media. "Rome looked and something out the Bible," one eyewitness wrote online. "Thunder rumbled between the ancient monuments." Meteorologists from Italy's Severe Protection Department confirmed more than 19 millimeters of rainfall in less 19 minutes. Rome faced an unexpected and ferocious hailstorm yesterday, transforming the historic streets and the eternal city into the winter-like scene in the middle of autumn. Within the minutes, hailstorm is large as walnuts pelted rooftops, cars and accident-capable stones caused widespread damage. Residents were caught off guard. "It was like a wall of ice come from the sky," said Marco Ricci, who was walking near the Pisa Nava. "The hail smashed car windows and bounced the sidewalk. We can reach the cover." Tourists and local alike scrambled to find shelters, and streets quickly flooded in ice water. Emergency services were overwhelmed. Firefighters and civil protection teams responded to hundreds of calls involving fallen trees, blocked roads and stranded vehicles. In the Trustable district, metro station and houses were temporarily submerged and buses were forced to reroute. Meteorologists described the storm of sudden and extreme caused by the Mediterranean low-pressure system interacted with warm, humid air from Africa. This condition can produce very violent storm in a short time, said climatologist Elisa Romano.
Porco Dio, Dio.
The Mediterranean has become a beginning ground the superchanging storm, said Dr. Maria Conti, a climate researcher at La Sapienza University. Social media filmed the dramatic video showing lightning illumination the Colosseum, have covered the Spanish steps, and a water cascading down ancient starways. In some neighborhoods, power outage left hundreds of homes in the darkness for hours. Authorities have urged caution a cleanup continue. Rome major paralyzed emergency crew for the rapid response by optimizing the city again drainage system remain the major vulnerability. We must adapt. This is a new climate reality, she said. For many Romans, the storm severe as a powerful reminder for even the eternal city is not immune the growing fury the extreme weather. As Dame broke, sunlight related the city stories carried the still standard resilience as ever. As the sun rose over the devastation streets, scenes of resilience began to emerge. Volunteers from neighboring towns arrived the shovels, pumps, and food supplies. In Catania University, standard formed human chain to help clear debris to home of elderly residents. Church bells rang in solidarity of many communities, helped nightly prayers to endure and displace it. One image of white Sicily flag flying proudly over the flooded town hall became a national symbol of strength. Local mayor called at Rome and declared a state of emergency to obtain additional funds in the rescue to rapid reconstruction. Engineers are now installing bridges and roads, help workers to warn into possible communication flow to overflow, seen and standing water. Meteorologists at Vito Italia say a storm system may be weakening the residual rains and extended to continue for several more days. The ground is standing with the water. Warning climatologist Dr. Elena Ferraro events tell additional rainfall could cause new floods and landslides. Environmental activists are calling this storm a wake-up call. This is not just a random error, said Lucia Marinel of Climate Italia. This is the result of decades of neglecting environmental policy of urban planning. We must change now. International support has begun to arrive the form of offer assistance from the European Union of neighboring countries. Italian celebrities, soccer players and Pope have been experiencing this solidarity. In the second turn of event, Italy was thrown into chaos as a Corso storm wreaked havoc across the picturesque landscape of Sicily and Rome. The unrelated tempest, reminiscent of a scene of Dante's Inferno, left a trail of destruction in its wake, testing the resilience of these Italian people and the determination of republic their beloved cities. Sicily, now in the straddling Mediterranean coastal line and historic Cairn, is almost hardest hit by violent tempest. The island, unusually a sure weather, were caught in the turbulent sea of fury, pouring the curse and related force. Torrential rain, accompanied by gale force wind, battered the region, caused widespread flooding, triggering landscape and uprooted centuries-old trees. In the intensity described as expansional, the combination of warm and shoe-laden air from the Mediterranean Sea and sudden cold front from the Alps causing the explosive storm accompanied by hail and intense electrical activity. Major Roberto Girelli declared a state of emergency, mobilized hundreds of municipal workers to clear fallen debris and unblocked roads. Rome drainage infrastructure could not cope with the heat and unbladed to press conference. This storm has once again demonstrated how vulnerability our city is to extreme weather conditions. Public transportation in the capital was severely disrupted. Metro lines A and B were particularly suspended, and trains from Terni station were delayed in several hours due to flooded tracks. Schools in the several districts were closed. The following date safety checks. Video posted online showed residents wading through the waist-deep water by stuck in the middle of the streets and hailstones the size of marble Pelton Park car. We lost almost everything again, sang restaurant Elena Rossi, her voice breaking to the surrey of the match. Elsewhere, boats were tested again, the storm among vents, water taxis capacity, and debris fields and channels. Emergency crew working throughout the night and evacuate elderly residents to reinforce power lines damaged by the fallen trees. Schools and museums remain closed and cleanup operation continue. Meteorologists attributed the storm to collisions between warm Mediterranean air and cold front descending from the northern Europe, and combination that triggering extreme conditions and intense rainfall. Italy's Civil Protection Agency has issued a red alert for the much of Veneto region, warning that more storms could follow. Emergency service received hundreds of calls when in the first hour, firefighters walked into the night and cleared fallen branches and rescued drivers trapped in flooding underpasses. Several metro lines were temporarily suspended as a hail piled up on the tracks and attorneys. Businesses and coffee separate losers and a witness capable under the city wave. It looked like a snow, but it was sharp ice, said cafe owner Luca Bianchi. We have never seen anything like this in October. Experts say that the storm reflects a growing patterns of extreme weather across southern Europe. Climate instability is intensifying, warning climatologist Professor Maria Conti. Long location between the Mediterranean and Apennines make it especially vulnerable to these sudden events.